Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into one of the world's greatest mysteries, Mount Kailash. Now, you've definitely heard of Everest, right? Well, this sacred peak in Tibet is actually thousands of meters shorter, but get this, not a single person has ever officially climbed it. And let's just jump right into the deep end with one of the wildest claims about this place. The story goes that time itself actually speeds up on the mountain. People say their hair and nails grow incredibly fast. It's a sensational idea of rapid aging that has really captured people's imaginations. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? I mean, we've put flags on top of Everest, the highest point on Earth, thousands of times. So what makes this one mountain so different? Is there some kind of supernatural force field, an impossible physical barrier, or is something else going on entirely? Well, we're gonna find out. All right, first up, let's talk about the physical mountain itself, because its actual shape and geography are just as compelling as any of the myths that surround it. So here's where it gets a little strange. At over 6,600 meters, Mount Kailash is definitely a huge mountain, but it's way, way shorter than Everest. Climbers have summited hundreds of peaks that are taller than Kailash, so its height alone, well, that's just not the reason it's unclimbed. The physical mystery really begins with its shape. And this is what really sets it apart. It's not just some jagged random peak, it is an almost perfect pyramid. I mean, it has these four incredibly sheer faces that line up almost exactly with the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. You just don't find that kind of geometric precision in nature. It's no wonder people think it's more than just a mountain. But you know, the physical stuff is really only half the story. If you truly want to understand why Kailash remains unclimbed, you have to look beyond the rock and ice and into its profound spiritual significance. Now, this is what is truly unique. Kailash isn't just sacred to one religion. It is considered the spiritual center of the entire world by four completely distinct faiths: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and the ancient Tibetan religion of Bon. That is incredibly rare. And for each of these faiths, this mountain is, well, it's everything. For Hindus, it's the literal home of Lord Shiva. For Buddhists, a place of supreme meditation. For Jains, it's where their first great teacher found enlightenment. And for followers of Bon, it's the cosmic axis connecting our world to the heavens. So you can see, trying to climb it, that would be an act of profound disrespect. Okay, so when a place holds that much spiritual weight, it is no surprise that it spawns some absolutely incredible stories, claims that really blur the line between faith and pure fantasy. Right at the foot of the mountain, you find this amazing natural duality. There are two lakes sitting side by side. One is the holy Lake Manasaravar. It's freshwater, teeming with life, and seen as a place of the gods. Right next to it is Rakshas Tal, a barren, saltwater lake known as the Lake of Demons. This stark contrast has fueled supernatural stories for centuries. And that brings us to probably the most chilling and persistent story, the one about a group of Siberian climbers. Legend says they attempted to climb part of the mountain, and when they came down, they had aged decades in just a matter of days, and all died within a year. It's a terrifying tale that has become a cornerstone of the mountain's mythos. Then you've got this idea of its almost supernatural placement on Earth. Some argue that the distance from Kailash to major sites like the North Pole and even Stonehenge is exactly 6,666 kilometers, which suggests to them that it's not a natural mountain at all, but some kind of ancient marker or man-made pyramid. Okay, so rapid aging, a man-made pyramid, and divine geography. It's a lot to take in. But how much of this actually stands up to scrutiny? It's time to dig into the science and the sources and separate the facts from the fiction. So, the single most important reason Kailash remains unclimbed actually comes from the world's greatest mountaineer, Reinhold Messner. When the Chinese government offered him a permit to climb it back in the 1980s, he refused. He said that to conquer Kailash would be to conquer people's souls. He simply respected its sanctity. And that sentiment was so powerful, it echoed around the world. After a Spanish team got a permit in 2001, there was a global outcry from religious groups and mountaineers alike. The pressure was so intense that the Chinese government officially banned all climbing on the mountain. It is now a protected sacred site. So if the real reason it's unclimbed is simply respect and law, it really begs the question, where did all these sensational stories come from? who started the rumors about time travel and rapid aging? Well, believe it or not, most of them can be traced back to one man. After an expedition in 1999, a Russian eye surgeon named Dr. Ernst Moldashov published a book making these incredible claims about Kailash being a hollow, man-made pyramid and the source of all the time dilation stories. And to understand the credibility of his claims, you just have to look at what else he believed. We're talking mermaids, Dracula's underground castle, and telepathic superhumans. Unsurprisingly, none of his theories about Kailash were ever published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. And what about those perfect distances? Well, while the number 6,666 is often cited, it isn't exact. The actual distances are kind of close, but they don't really align. The numbers have been fudged a bit to fit the supernatural narrative. The rest of the mysteries have pretty clear scientific explanations. That pyramid shape, it's a result of natural glacial erosion, just like the famous Matterhorn in Europe. The two lakes? Rakshastal is landlocked, so salt concentrates as water evaporates, while Manasarovar has an outlet, keeping it fresh. And the disorientation people feel, that's just classic symptoms of altitude sickness. So, if it's not a time machine or an ancient pyramid, what is the real wonder of Mount Kailash? The truth, it turns out, is actually far more profound than any of the pseudoscience. And this is the ultimate takeaway. The true miracle isn't some invisible force field. It's an act of collective human will. In an age of conquest, where we try to climb everything, we looked at this one peak and, as a species, decided to leave it untouched out of sheer respect. And that leaves us with this final thought. The story of Mount Kailash